Welcome to the Gut Show. I'm Erin Judge, registered dietitian and founder of Gutivate, and I will be your host. My goal on this side of the internet is to empower those with IBS and digestive disorders to understand their guts better, to have a healthier relationship with their bodies, and make confident choices to improve their digestive health. During this season of the Gut Show, you can expect a weekly conversation covering a hot topic related to health, digestion, and IBS. As a disclaimer, I am a dietitian, but I'm not your personal dietitian. Everything we cover in this episode is meant to be educational and not a substitute for personalized care from your healthcare team. Welcome, and let's dive into today's episode. Have you ever heard of body dysmorphia? Or have you ever had this experience where you have felt almost like a disconnect between how your body looks and how you feel? Like your body maybe has betrayed you, or that the body's not home, and it feels like there's this huge disconnect. If so, that could be possibly a form of body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia, which can also be called in a disorder form, body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD, is actually considered a mental health condition. Not a bad thing, right? We have destigmatized mental health conditions, but it's something that can happen that's characterized by a preoccupation or this kind of obsession with perceived flaws or defects in one's appearance. These flaws or defects could be minor. They could even be imagined. But for individuals who experience this form of disorder, they are causing a lot of distress and can have kind of a major impact on how they live their lives. I'll use a very small example to show what this can look like, and then an example that a lot of people with IBS experience. So a very simple example would be if you have, let's say, a part of your eyebrow missing. This preoccupation with that defect, right, that part of the eyebrow missing, could lead you to think your entire eyebrow is missing, or that your eyebrows are completely messed up. You need to cover them up. Everyone can see it. You shouldn't go out, right, because there's a piece of your eyebrow missing. It's very small, right? The form that people with IBS experience is this idea that their body is maybe more bloated and like visibly bloated than it could be. And sometimes that is the truth. Sometimes it can feel that way, or the pain. A lot of times the symptoms they experience aren't visible, but they're feeling them. So it's almost the flip, right? Where the preoccupation, kind of that obsession, is more with what they feel. Of like, oh, my body, I'm in pain, I'm uncomfortable, I need to poop, right? Maybe I can't, or I'm going too much. And then we start to think, even though it is not visible, like, well, then everyone is going to know, everyone can see this, or why can't people see this? That can be a form of body dysmorphia. We also see body dysmorphia often in eating disorders, because there's this idea that the body is larger than it is. And then the idea that the body being larger is a problem or a bad thing then leads to this disorder behavior, right? So there's two sets of beliefs going on there. But some people who experience eating disorders, and we see this a lot in anorexia, they really do feel like their body, and they even see it in the mirror, right? They see their body is bigger than it is. And it may not be. Their body may be getting smaller, but they still see it as larger than what it truly is, which then again, because of their belief that that is bad or wrong, or they need to be smaller for some reason, that can lead to their eating disorder behavior. So this is what this can look like. It's possible to have like poor body image and body dysmorphia thoughts without having true body dysmorphic disorder. So they're not always this full disorder stage. It's not always super severe, but there can be these experiences that people are having. So with that, body dysmorphic thoughts and patterns like this can be short-term, and it's very normal. Everyone has moments of insecurity. Everyone has moments of dissatisfaction with their appearance in some way. And it's really normal to have those moments, right? Especially if you grew up, in a world like a lot of us have, and not just women, everyone. We've grown up to idealize certain appearances and certain body shapes and the way that certain people present themselves. And if you don't fit into that kind of box, in that category, it can be normal to experience this comparison to that and frustration with the fact that maybe your body or your face or even just your presence in the world is not like that. But those who do have body dysmorphic disorder and more of the kind of severe sides of this, these moments of insecurity and dissatisfaction are truly chronic and intense. So they are not just the thoughts that come up and might be frustrating or thoughts that cause some stress or anxiety. They're going to be thoughts that have a really significant impact on someone's life. So like I mentioned, poor body image can overlap here and there can be a connection, but it's not always the same thing. But if you do want to dig deeper into body image and poor body image, a lot of what we talk about today will still be helpful, but we did cover body image more in episode 4 of this season. So go back a couple of episodes and you can dig deeper into poor body image in that side of the conversation. But looking at body dysmorphia as a mental health condition, we can dig a little bit deeper into what it truly is and how it presents. So this is thought to be a type of obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and it can lead to behaviors like excessive grooming, mirror checking, experience this as a body dysmorphic behavior, and seeking reassurance from others about one's appearance. It can also lead to depression, anxiety, and isolation. A lot of people who are experiencing this seem to be kind of obsessed with how they look. So we could see this in how people present themselves online. We don't want to diagnose people, but you can see it in yourself if you are overly preoccupied with looking at your body in different ways. Like mirror checking is where you have to look at yourself in all the different forms in the mirror. Maybe you're pulling at your skin to look a certain way, another direction, and just try to see how to make your body kind of shift and alter and kind of overly judge or view your body. So it's like this obsession with the body and the appearance. So it could be the body, it could also just be the face, whatever it may be. While poor body image is a symptom of body dysmorphia, not all people who experience body image issues will have body dysmorphia, but anyone who does have body dysmorphia likely does have a poor body image, right? Because this obsession is leading to a disconnect in who they truly are and in the disconnect in care for their bodies, which leads to that poor body image. So there's likely a increased state of judgment. The words used towards oneself in the mirror or outside of the mirror, even in seeking approval from others, it could be very harmful to their body or hateful towards their body. So you may hear words like, oh, I look so large in these pants, and if the thought is that is a bad thing, they may be using it that way so that someone will tell them that, or, oh, like my makeup looks terrible today, hoping to get some validation from others, but no, it doesn't. And then they feed off of that. So that would be kind of a coping mechanism in a way, or a way someone presents with this condition. In more severe cases, you could also see kind of hair pulling, skin picking, some of those behaviors present, and there could even be an increased risk of self-harm and even potentially unaliving, because again, it's a mental health condition, right? It's not always this conscious choice to have this disconnect and have this feeling of the body not being your own, or just kind of that obsession with how you look. Like it can be very common to experience that, not only social isolation, but self-isolation. And what I've seen with those with IBS is that they experience, again, somewhat of the opposite in a way, that the way that they feel isn't always visible from the outside. And so it can either go in the form of like, I'm so obsessed with how my body's functioning and it's not pictured, right? Or why can't you see this? Or everyone must see this, all the spotlight is on me. So in one of the cases where you want it to be seen, there could be some of that acting out, seeking assurance, of almost overemphasizing how bad you feel because you do want someone to validate it, right? You wonder why they can't see it, and self-harm could definitely happen in that case. In the other case where you feel like everybody is seeing, what you're experiencing, that can lead to that social isolation. It can lead to shrinking oneself or covering up oneself in a way that we may also see when someone who's insecure about how their body looks. So both cases can lead to potential self-harm. It could lead to really like a huge lack of self-care, and it can lead to kind of harmful behaviors all around. So not even just physical harm, but verbal abuse, kind of an emotional abuse towards yourself, which is not going to lead to great outcomes in how you treat yourself and even work with your body with IBS. There's also another link between IBS and body dysmorphic disorder, and that is the shared kind of underlying mechanism, which is the increased sensitivity to physical sensations. So in IBS, we call this visceral hypersensitivity, and it can explain why patients experience pain. If you have IBS, you know that the pain you get from having trapped gas is very intense and real. But if you communicate that to someone else, they may not experience that or get it, right? And it's like, am I imagining this? Like, well, why aren't you, like, why am I experiencing this, but you're not? It's called visceral hypersensitivity. Your pain is very real. The signaling is just off, right? This can happen with body dysmorphic disorder, where a lot of people can experience also this increased sensation and experience of sensations. And so they may feel their skin, and that's where some of that skin pulling, pricking, kind of that piece comes into play. There is a theory of body dysmorphic disorder possibly leading to potential IBS. And the theory is that this kind of focus on these flaws, right, these perceived flaws, leads to an increased attention to all of the body sensations. So it heightens this awareness to bodily sensations because there is this obsession already and kind of occupation with all of the thought, the flaws that they perceive or feel like are there. And so the mirror checking, the body checking then leads to hyper awareness of these sensations overall, which then can lead to increased anxiety and stress, which can then exacerbate symptoms of IBS, possibly even leading to increased hypersensitivity, right? The spiral goes on. So there could be this kind of web of connection. And then the compulsive behaviors associated with body dysmorphic disorder, which could be the grooming or the body checking, this could also contribute to the development of IBS symptoms through that stress cycle. So it's an interesting theory that could be at play. As a practitioner in the IBS space, I've always thought like body dysmorphia coming kind of out of having IBS. But when you think about this connection, where possibly this could come first, we do see this in some patients. And we also see IBS coming off the tail end of eating disorders. And that also could be a piece of the puzzle too, right? Where body dysmorphia can lead to an eating disorder, which can also lead to IBS. So there's a lot of ways that this can be connected. And so a lot of times we do see people present with some of these characteristics, whether it be a diagnosed disorder or not, on both ends of that spectrum, the body dysmorphia side and the IBS side, that there is this kind of interlink for a lot of people. And so if you experience that, you're not alone. You're not abnormal. Nothing's wrong with you, right? It is something that needs to be addressed and you need support because it's not working for you. But that doesn't mean that like something's wrong with you and you just need to like snap out of it. That's not true. These are real things that can happen and can feed into each other, which can make it even harder and again, increase the need for more support. When it comes to truly treating body dysmorphic disorder, a lot like any mental health condition, it can often involve a combination of medications and therapy. And then different therapeutic approaches, it'll vary based on providers, but also the person that they're treating. So you as a human being, what all you're experiencing in your life, what's contributing, how your behaviors and thoughts are turning into actions, like it really will depend on you and your preferences. Cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT is often used, and that can help with learning to kind of challenge those negative thoughts and some of the what we're preoccupied with, right? What's kind of leading to that obsession and like the body size piece of like, oh, well, larger body size is bad. That would be a thought that they're trying to target. And you can change those thoughts and then even those beliefs. And that can help then improve the actions that follow those. And cognitive behavioral therapy can work to do that. Medications like antidepressants can be used to help reduce some of the symptoms of depression and anxiety. So they could be used short term, possibly, just to provide extra support as you're working on other things, like changing the thoughts and the behaviors there. But they also may help if maybe anxiety or depression led to a lot of these things, right? Where if you're in a depressed state and that leads to, the start of the cycle, then that would be something that they would target. So again, it really does depend on you. And that's why it's so important to find providers that will listen to you and will ask good questions to really get to know you, but then have kind of a wealth of knowledge and experience in these different areas to understand the possible overlap and how treatment could be personalized for what you actually need. It's not something that I do as a dietitian, but it is something that, I can help patients explore as they're working with me for their IBS. We may have to explore this and find good providers in the mental health space to help with these different pieces so that they're better supported and can see more results through the work that they're putting in. Some short-term kind of strategies before treatment, or maybe even as part of treatment, that can help with some of these behaviors, whether it be true body dysmorphic disorder or behaviors that are similar, like that body checking piece and kind of hyper sensations or hyper awareness to appearance, and focus on that. Things that you can do would be covering or removing mirrors that can help reduce that stimulus, right? If you see a mirror and you're always body checking when you see it, even for a short time, you may cover or completely remove those mirrors from where you're at. Having support with those that you spend time with to alert you when there is a mirror and kind of help kind of move that trigger away from you. Removing accounts on social media, or maybe taking a break to avoid the comparison to other bodies and different filters that are there. We're seeing a huge rise in some of these habits, and I would be really interested to see a rise in true body dysmorphic disorder with the rise of social media filters and how good the filters have become, that you can hardly tell, that some people are using them. And if you are looking through social media and the people that you're following, or just what comes up through your feed is, a lot of faces that are filtered. And then that leads to, okay, well, my face doesn't look like that. There's something wrong with my face. I need to change it. There are a lot of voices of people who are getting things like, surgery to change things, and that may not be serving to you in the state that you're in. And there may be people that aren't necessarily using filters or shaming any parts of your body and who you are, but simply how they are and how they're showing up. If you don't have an appreciation for your own body and a respect for how you show up, as well as how they show up, and you only see their body as like, well, there's a superior and ideal, and mine doesn't look like that, it may be helpful to even just mute them for a little bit, or again, remove yourself from that environment so that you have time to work on what's going on for you, so that you can then be exposed to that and be able to filter through that a little bit easier with more success. And then adding in more mindfulness exercises to shift that focus away from your body, from those perceived flaws, right? From all of those things, into other parts of your life and your environment. This isn't always just an easy fix, but mindfulness activities can really help with any form of hyper awareness. Even when we're thinking about chronic pain, it's not going to make the pain go away, but it can help shift your brain away from that, so that you're not only just thinking about pain, and kind of worsening some of that sensitivity, but instead you're able to kind of focus elsewhere, and that helps with the kind of regulating the brain a little bit. And so mindfulness activities that utilize your senses, like even mindful eating practices, grounding practices where you stand on the ground, put your feet in the ground, utilizing senses as you're going for a walk outside, maybe removing your phone and other kind of stimuli from your ears, and really engage with your environment. You can do a mindfulness-based meditations, and that can be helpful if that's something that you align with and you connect to. And even things like mind-body exercises can be helpful. And that's where yoga practices can fit in. Some forms of like Pilates may fit into there as well, where the focus is on alignment and kind of connecting to different parts of your body. Weightlifting can also fit into this. The key is just that your mind is connected to your body, and that you're focused on your breath, you're feeling it, you're experiencing it, you're being guided through kind of what you're noticing in your body. For some people, that's not going to work, right? Because it could worsen this piece when the body is what's being obsessed over. But for some people, this could be really beneficial. And so if you kind of think about, okay, what sticks out to me, and then go from there and determine like, okay, is that something that I may want to try? And then definitely get support to help you as you're walking through that. So wrapping this up, it's a short episode because there's not a lot else really to say, but the big goal of addressing this topic is, one, to make you feel like you're not alone, right? If you're experiencing this, you're not alone, but also to highlight something that I think in our world, we've kind of normalized, because we all experience it in some way, but in the IBS space, we have kind of normalized it in not such a helpful way of, overemphasizing what's wrong with ourselves, right? We may do this through coping with humor, and that's not a bad thing, but you do have to recognize when emphasizing those things has become unhelpful or is spiraling into other areas of your life and starting to take a hold on you and how you show up and how you live and how you experience, relationships and interactions with others. And that could spiral into almost a true body dysmorphic disorder where it does turn into an occupation with how you look, right? In these engagements with this appearance and this body that you have. And so it's important that we talk about it, raise awareness for it in safe spaces like this, to then be able to dig deeper into ourselves and see, okay, are there some red flags and warning signs here that I need to listen to, so that I can truly kind of take care of my body the best way that I can, which is always my goal as a provider in this space for you. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm not the expert and all on body dysmorphia. I'm not. I will be the first to say that. I am an expert on IBS. And so this season is all about approaching these topics that are a little sticky. And some of them I'm not the true expert on. And I can be honest about that, but also want to hear your experiences. So please share. In the show notes, you'll see, connecting on social media or our community on Facebook. Would love to see you there. And then next week, we are going to go into medical gaslighting. So kind of shifting it a bit, which again could feel like dysmorphia in a lot of ways when you're being gaslit or not listened to or not served appropriately in a medical healthcare setting or even in your family. So if you're interested in that topic, please come back for our next episode next week. I cannot wait to dive into that with you. Might get a little fired up. So excited to talk about it. Hope you have an amazing rest of whatever part of the day you're in now, and I will see you next week. Do you want to keep learning from me in bite-sized pieces, as well as even be able to ask me questions and get those answered? If that is true, then you should follow me on social media so that you can learn from myself, but also my incredible team. You can find us on Instagram at erinjudge.rd or at Gutivate. You can also find us at TikTok, same name. And then you can also find us, if you're not already on YouTube for longer and shorter videos than the one that you listened to today. And if you're someone who really does enjoy compiled information from different brands we trust and different recipes that we enjoy, then you can also follow us on Pinterest, where you can see our own boards, but also the boards that we have been able to compile other great IBS friendly links and resources for you.